Oh, quite a few people here for headaches and migraines. I wasn't sure. You know, you never know who's going to show up for what. So headaches and migraines. So has anybody here struggled with like chronic headaches and migraines? Oh, good. Praise God. Gosh, I should have Hannah come up here and tell her testimony. She was just saying how she used to have tons of headaches, and she's like, it just dawned on her this morning. She's like, oh my gosh, I haven't had any headaches for a long time. You just kind of forget sometimes when you live in pain, and then they go away, and you just are living life, and you kind of forget, you know? So that's a good thing. All right, so we'll pray. All right, Father, thank you for this time together. We love you, we worship you, we honor you. We thank you for your design of the human body. We just pray for increase in understanding and knowledge and wisdom on how to align our hearts, our bodies, our soul, our spirit with yours, Lord. It's all about you. Help us understand these pain conditions, headaches, and what you're saying through them. It's all based on your creation and your understanding. Just help us to know more. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. All right, so, like, wow, how can I talk for an hour about headaches and make it somewhat interesting and not give everybody a headache listening to me for an hour talk about headaches? So, I love actually talking about pain conditions. I know that sounds weird, but I always say thank God for pain. I'm actually reading C.S. Lewis right now, The Problem with Pain. Has anybody read that book before? C.S. Lewis he's a fascinating author, but yeah, I hadn't read that book in years, so I thought I'd pick that up again. But pain conditions are really interesting because, of course, I believe that perfect alignment with our Creator, we wouldn't have so much pain in this world. And in fact, if we know the truth about God and the Bible and what's coming for us in the future who put their trust in the Lord, we will have a time where we're pain-free and He wipes all our tears away. But for now, we're in a whole lot of pain. In a lot of different ways, in a lot of different areas, not just our body, not just physical pain, but in many different ways. But I always say thank God for pain, because without pain, we wouldn't realize there's a problem. Without pain, we wouldn't seek to find solutions to the error of our ways. Without pain, we wouldn't have an understanding and a way to turn away from things that are destructive and back towards things that are better or right for us. And it's kind of a part of the purification process. Pain, there's good pain. You know, I always have to try to distinguish this when I work with people in the health arena, because if you do all the wrong things, you're going to be in pain. Okay? If you treat your body horribly and you eat pizza and donuts every day, at some point you're going to be in pain for doing the wrong things. What's challenging that I've had to work through and working with hundreds of people now is that when you do all the right things, there's usually pain. And that's really true when it comes to walking with the Lord and understanding what it really means to go to the cross. But in physical pain, in the physical manifestations of pain, when you're trying to cleanse and heal your body, almost always there's pain and discomfort. And I call it productive pain. Everybody spends most of their lives trying to figure out how to not be in pain. I mean, most of the people I see come to me because something hurts. And so they want out of pain. And aligning with our God can bring us out of pain, but it's not always perfect and it's not always easy. And so when we're going to talk about headaches and migraines, you know, these are pain conditions. These are painful issues. There's a reason that pain drugs are the #1 selling pharmaceutical drug in the entire world. They're addictive. Children are taking them. Teenagers are taking them. Not because they're in pain, because they're addictive. And they destroy people. They destroy life. All pharmaceutical drugs we know are toxic to human function. They're not designed by God. They're designed by man to force an action to happen on the body. So pain drugs are very dangerous. And I think these kind of classes are important because I believe there's a reason, there's a cause and effect for everything that happens. And if we're getting headaches reoccurring, we're getting migraines, chronic migraines. People who have migraines would probably laugh at the word headache, because if you've ever had a migraine, it's debilitating. Now, I can say that I've only had one migraine that I know of in my entire life. But I'll tell you, I'll never forget it. And to hear people who are suffering with migraines daily or 2-3 times a week, really my heart goes out, because that is debilitating pain. But I remember one time I was working corporate quite a few years ago, and I started feeling dizzy, seeing lights. I had to go in and lay down on my back, throbbing pressure on my, I mean, like I said, I will never forget it. And I've only had one of them. I can't imagine people who have struggled with migraines and these kind of things for years and years and years. So we want to understand, what's happening, and understand that a pain drug isn't the answer, especially a pharmaceutical drug. Because as I've mentioned in classes many times before, God created us, and the things God created work in alignment with how He designed us and the earth to work all together as one. And so using things that God gave us can bring us into alignment with Him and out of pain the right way. Taking a pharmaceutical drug can certainly take you out of pain the wrong way. Because what it does is it's a petrochemical drug. It's a coal tar-based drug where a guy in a lab coat manipulated some molecular structure of basically petroleum, tested it on animals that were in pain, figured out how to get them out of pain by inhibiting different nerve receptors and blocking nerve receptors and forcing your nervous system to not feel pain and to numb your body. I mean, this is how aspirin and some of these drugs work, is they shut off your pain receptors in your body. And again, there's a reason we have pain. So shutting down our pain receptors, although I understand that because nobody wants to live in chronic pain, we don't want to live that way, because every single pharmaceutical drug has a laundry list of side effects. And we jokingly say they're not side effects, they're direct effects of putting poison in your body. I mean, tell me something that God created, like I don't eat an avocado and go, well, let me read the side effects first. I mean, these are toxic drugs. Aspirin is a toxic drug. Advil, Motrin, these aren't things to play around with. 100,000+ people go to the hospital every year just from taking aspirin. 10,000 people are killed every year by aspirin. It's still on the market. You can still go to the store and buy it for a few dollars. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed on the market. So we want to find the real answers to why we have pain or headaches or migraines specific to this class, so that we don't have to live on these pain drugs and cause deeper, further issues. All right. So let's talk about what headaches and migraines are. Now, I'm not going to say, I never say I know anything exclusively. Only God knows all things. I try to do my best and not lead people too far astray. But everything I've studied and I've learned about health related to headaches and migraines, and I don't want to say 100%, but the vast majority of headaches and migraines is very simply toxic, dirty blood. And you've heard me say many, many, many times that the life of all flesh is in the blood. Leviticus 17:13. The life of all flesh is in the blood sustains this life. The way God designed the human body is that the blood stays pure and clean. The liver cleans the blood, the spleen cleans the blood, the lymph pulls waste and toxins out of the blood to be eliminated out through the kidneys. The whole body God designed is designed to keep your blood healthy. That's where your life force is. And so if there's toxic things in your blood for various reasons, then we have symptoms related to having toxic blood. Do you have a chair? Can we get another chair? Thank you. So there are symptoms related to having congested toxic blood. We have autoimmune diseases. That's toxic blood. We have food allergies and food sensitivities. That's things getting into the bloodstream that shouldn't be there and causing reactions. I mean, so many health issues we have today are a result of the blood not being able to purify it the way God designed it. And so it's interesting to think about, again, how we're using man-made pharmaceutical drugs to cover up our pain symptoms that are all toxic to what part of the body mainly do you hear pharmaceutical drugs damaging? You guys know this. The liver. Yes, the liver. Every pharmaceutical drug is toxic to the liver. Why? Because everything that enters the human body has to go through the liver. And because all pharmaceutical drugs are toxic, there can't be a patent on it unless it's toxic, because it can't be natural to have a patent. So they all have to go through the liver. You want to hear something really frightening? Is the drugs that you're putting in your body have to be so toxic that they have to make it through the processing efforts of your liver and still make it out into the body to have the desired effect. Does that make sense? That's how harmful pharmaceutical drugs are. They're actually getting through your main defense mechanisms. They're getting through your gut, your liver, your lymphatic system, and the body's trying to neutralize all those poisons coming in, but it's such a strong medication that it gets through all God's natural defense mechanisms and still has this effect on the human body. And this is all pharmaceutical drugs. This is why they're all dangerous. And it's just ironic that we're taking things for pain that cause liver and blood toxicity, when the cause of headaches and migraines is liver and blood toxicity. And interesting, I have this little list, and I sometimes go to, PubMed or what's that other funny website where people go, WebMD, that kind of stuff. And this is the list of side effects for migraine headaches. Ulcers, gastrointestinal bleeding, stroke and heart attack, muscle weakness, dizziness, nausea. These are the side effects of the pharmaceutical drugs. Dizziness, nausea, muscle weakness, stroke and heart attack, ulcers and gastrointestinal bleeding. And then here's the symptoms of a migraine headache: sensitivity to light and noise, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, visual disturbances such as flashing lights. So the symptoms of a migraine, the side effects of the pharmaceutical drugs have the same symptoms as having a migraine themselves. And this just shows how desperate people are to get out of pain, is that they would take a pharmaceutical drug that is toxic and causes multiple side effects, and sometimes they have to try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ones to figure out which one works. And so, so there's other options. There are definitely other options. So ultimately, it's a blood issue. It's a toxicity of the blood issue. And so the main way the body feels pain, what part of the system tells your body that it's in pain? You guys know this too. Nerves, right? It's our nervous system that tells us we have pain. So if you're feeling pain, there's an issue of the nervous system. And the nervous system goes throughout the whole body, right? I mean, it's the brain and the spinal cord. There's a vagus nerve that goes through the middle of the body. All these connect to every single part of the entire body. The eyeball connects to every single part of the entire body through the nervous system. The gut, the intestinal tract, connects to every single part of the body through the nervous system. In fact, the intestinal tract is the first thing that's formed in the womb, in an embryo, is the intestinal tract, and everything buds off of that. So there's nerve fibers and nerve connections from the gut to every single part of the body. This is why what we eat matters. This is why what we put in our body matters, because it literally affects every single part of the body. And you've probably heard of the gut-brain connection. I mean, everybody's kind of heard of that now, this gut-brain connection, which seems obvious. It should make sense that what you eat can affect your brain or any other part of your body, but it's because of the nerves and the nervous system. So why is it certain foods people eat trigger migraines? Why is it certain chemicals and things that people ingest or put in their body can trigger a migraine? Because it's all connected to the gut and it's connected to nerves. And so something's damaging the body, damaging the gut, like I said, damaging the bloodstream to the point where the nervous system is forcing a response. And that response is stop what you're doing because it's causing pain. It's causing discomfort. And I give this silly example all the time. If my 3-year-old touches the hot stove. I don't want her to touch the hot stove. I can tell her 30 times not to touch the hot stove, but it's really until the first time she touches the hot stove that she really learns she shouldn't touch the hot stove. Fair? So this is nerves. This is like the advantage of the fact that God gave us a nervous system, that we can know right from wrong and pain, and how to change our ways if we're in pain. So what we want to do is we want to figure out how to clean up the body, clean up the blood, what kind of things trigger headaches and migraines, and I have a little bit of a list here for you. Anybody who's had migraines, I don't want to say anybody, the vast majority of people who have struggled with migraines can tell you, if they've paid attention to it and if they've had it for long enough, they can tell you what their triggers are. They can just, they know from experience. I eat this, or I do this, or I'm stressed out, or whatever. There's something that triggers this issue. Because what you're doing is you're triggering your nerves. You're triggering your nervous system. You're triggering things to fire in your body. And those things aren't always good. Being chronically stressed out isn't a good nerve stress trigger. It's a stress. It's not a good trigger. So some of the common things, and I'll talk about food and nutrition because I think that's the biggest reason people have headaches and migraines, and I think it's the biggest reason people have blood toxicity because of the foods that we're eating. And it's not just the foods that we're eating, and I always try to stress this, that it's not just the foods. Yes, have we messed up our food supply? Yes. I'm not a fan of GMOs. I'm not a fan of all the pesticides and the chemicals and everything we do in their foods. Fact. But what the bigger problem is our own bodies. Our own bodies' toxic levels, inability to process and handle things that enter the body, whether toxic or non-toxic. God built a pretty amazing body within a pretty amazing castle wall, defense system that should keep bad guys out and only let good guys in. But that system has collapsed in most people. This is what they call aging. But now we see kids with these types of issues. So it's not aging in a 2-year-old. So we can't accept aging as an excuse for why things aren't working in our body. It depends on the choices we made and the choices, unfortunately, that our ancestors have made. They always say we bear the sins of our fathers and our forefathers. So we are getting weaker each generation, and that's why you do see kids today that are sick as well. And that's why you see children with major food allergies and food sensitivities. Why does every decent restaurant these days have a gluten-free option or a dairy-free option or entire gluten-free menus? Like everybody's doing it. It's the popular thing. Well, it's because our immune systems are all messed up. Our bodies are messed up. We're a good 150 years into really, really damaging and destroying the human body through our choices. So the main food triggers of headaches and migraines, and this is in no particular order. I'm not putting emphasis on one thing more than another. But definitely grains. Now, can I highlight gluten? Of course I could. Everybody's heard about the gluten thing. And the gluten thing is because wheat, brow is what I remember, like eyebrow, barley, rye, oats, and wheat. But there's a lot of things that contain gluten. But anything that contains gluten, if it goes into your body and your defense systems aren't functioning properly, your digestive's not fully digesting your food, your lymphatic system's not fully removing the waste, your liver's not fully detoxing things it needs to detox, gluten molecules get out into your blood and they're not supposed to be there. And so your body is forced to react. And again, it's this dirty blood concept, this toxicity in the blood concept. So this is why gluten, people go gluten-free, and it helps their headaches and migraines. But I'm going to tell you it goes way beyond gluten. It's a grain problem. It's not a gluten problem. Gluten is one part of the problem with grains. So I'm talking all grains. That would even be rice. That would even be quinoa, which I know is healthy and it's a great choice. But I'm talking about all grains, and it's because they're complex starch molecules. And if your immune system and your body's not breaking down things properly, there's still undigested starch molecules and proteins getting into your body. quinoa contains a decent amount of protein. And a lot of these undigested protein molecules get into the blood and will trigger migraines. So yes, gluten's the worst, and any gluten-containing grain is the worst. But the reason I highlight that is because everybody's like going to the gluten-free section and shopping there. And I just really encourage people to never buy anything in the gluten-free section because it's just a perception of thinking we're buying something healthy. You just need to learn what's gluten-free. Like, I don't have to go to the gluten-free section to buy an avocado or a banana. Like, it's gluten-free. Now, there's are decent things in the gluten-free section. You might buy like quinoa, like you can get whole foods, but we just don't want to make the mistake of like being healthy and eating gluten-free brownies and gluten-free cookies and gluten-free chips and crackers, and like that's kind of what we do a lot of times. So wheat and grains are a big one. Dairy is a big one, same reason. Undigested, broken systems not functioning properly. Casein, which is milk proteins getting undigested into the body, going to trigger migraines. Sugar. And most of these things I'm talking about, interestingly, are acidic. Talked about acid-alkaline balance before. If you're extremely acidic in your bloodstream, you're going to have more headaches. You're going to get triggered more often. And things acidic are going to trigger headaches and migraines. And everything I'm talking about here are acidic foods. All the grains, all the sugars, even natural sugars, are all acidic. Dairy, and then this might sound obvious, but I just have to say it, the chemicals in our food. Artificial flavors. I mean, many people are like, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything that's got the dyes in it. Well, do you know where those dyes come from? All that stuff that we ate in our cookies and candy growing up, and some people still do. Those are coal tar based. Just same kind of stuff pharmaceutical drugs are made out of. They're coal tar, they're petroleum based. So of course people are allergic to them. Of course people have reactions to them. They're not supposed to be in the human body. So all your artificial flavors, artificial colors, MSG, you guys have heard of that probably, monosodium glutamate. Aspartame that's in diet soda, huge one for headaches and migraines. Caffeine, huge trigger. Known plenty of people who struggle with headaches and migraines finally stopped drinking coffee and it all went away. Well, that first 3-4 days was pretty miserable though, right? Why do people get headaches and migraines when they stop drinking coffee and when they stop drinking diet soda? Have you guys heard of that? People drink soda or diet soda and they get headaches and migraines. I know people who try to drink diet soda but quit every time they try because the headaches are so bad they drink diet soda to make the headaches go away. Anybody known anybody like that? People want to stop drinking diet soda. When they stop drinking it, the headaches are so bad that they actually drink the diet soda because it makes the headache go away. It's withdrawal. So when you overload the body with poison, even something natural like caffeine, so if you overdo coffee, and I'm not saying coffee is a horrible, horrible thing, but if you overdo coffee to the point where your body's like, I don't need that, what's the purpose of this? Excess, it's toxic, just like aspartame or any other toxin that we store in our body. The body's going to store it to keep it out of the blood. Why? Because the life of all flesh is in the blood. And so when you drink it, it hits your bloodstream, it causes a migraine or a headache, and then as your body figures out what to do with it and deposit it somewhere and stick it somewhere safely, then it goes away. But as soon as you stop drinking diet soda and as soon as you stop drinking coffee, you know what happens? God's a healer. Hey, let's get this poison out. Boom. Out the flood comes. The aspartame comes out of the tissues, out into the blood so that the body can get rid of it. All the excess caffeine that's been stored up comes out into the blood so the body can get rid of it. Because God wants you to be healthy. He wants you to be clean. He wants you. It's the way He designed the body. And so the body's releasing these toxins into the blood to get them out. And so you're going to have to go through that withdrawal. But with coffee, I tell people, like, if you drink 5 cups a day, okay, drink 5 cups a day this week. And next week, drink 4 cups a day. And then the next week, drink 3 cups a day. And the next week, Same with diet soda. Whatever you got to do, you got to get off it. So that's why that those things cause headaches and migraines, and they're hard for people to get off. It's the stored up toxicity in the body. So alcohol, obviously very acidic and usually a trigger for headaches and migraines. Cured meats, the nitrites and the nitrates, and things that are in a lot of the processed deli meats and things. Those are the main ones. Those are the main foods. Chocolate. Sorry, I have to throw it in there because it is. It's acidic. It has a lot of caffeine in it. There's a lot of reasons chocolate's also a trigger for headaches and migraines. I mean, ask somebody who struggles with migraines that knows chocolate's a trigger. Like, they're really sad. They feel like their life is over. No, I'm just joking. But it's you can't eat chocolate, right? What am I going to do? So, yeah, so these are some of the triggers. And again, the reason is because they're acidic. Your body's probably acidic. Your defense systems of your bodies is broken down. Things are getting into your blood that shouldn't. And before the body can eliminate it, it's triggering nerve receptors to tell your body there's pain and to stop doing this. It'd be the same reason somebody was gluten intolerant and every time they ate gluten they got crippling stomach pain. It's the nerve receptors reacting to the poisons in the body. God's design. Good designer. God, good designer. I always jokingly say that if it wasn't for pain, we would have all killed ourselves a long time ago. Fair? Okay, thank you. Because I'd be dead 1,000 times over. So, all right. So thank you, Lord, for that. Stress. Of course. What does stress affect? The nerves, right? The nervous system. Same thing. What happens when you're stressed out? Adrenal glands produce adrenaline. The purpose of adrenaline is to create rapid heartbeat and to stimulate the nervous system so that you can react. And so stress is always going to be a trigger because stress dumps hormones into the bloodstream and acids into the bloodstream. Every time you're stressed or anxious, you dump acids into your bloodstream. And so that is also why that's a trigger. I'm going to stress, let me say one other thing. External stimuli, so that would be people who are sensitive to the light. Do you know anybody who's sensitive to the light? Okay. Sunlight or natural light. I'm sure all of you have known people, or you yourself are super sensitive to chemicals, smells, perfume, cigarette smoke, exhaust. Now, should we be sensitive to those things to some extent? Yeah, I mean, they're poisonous things. But if you can't even get one whiff and you got to run out of the room, your filters are blocked. Okay? Your body's designed to filter that stuff out. You know, why do some people have allergies and some people don't? Why do some people have migraines and some people don't? You know, so obviously chocolate isn't like the worst thing in the world and causes migraines in all people. It just depends on the person. So that's why I always relate it back to our health and our filters and how our system's working and able to neutralize these things that are going into the body, good or bad. Things that should be in the body or things that definitely should not be in the body. But things that should not be in the body cause a more quick, violent reaction than things that God designed that are okay for the body, just not okay in your body because of what's happening with your body. Does that make sense? Okay. So loud noises, strong smells, bright light, all those things. So all of those inability to handle stimulus, bright lights, I'm going to tie back mainly to one organ. I'm going to tie back to the liver. Because we mentioned the blood and the toxicity of the blood, and the main organ that cleans your blood is the liver. And so without a healthy functioning liver, because it's big, that's been my struggle with my health over the years, is my liver mainly. There's been other things too, but mainly my liver. And it's big. It's bigger than your head. So it holds a whole lot of poison and a whole lot of toxins. And we know people have liver issues. I mean, people have crazy high cholesterol and they got fatty liver and they're getting hepatitis and there's all kinds of liver issues going on. But a lot of people have liver issues and they don't know it, or they don't ignore it, or they ignore it, or they don't know the symptoms of it. So they don't really know what's going on in their body. But all of these symptoms I mentioned are a blocked filter. Let me give you one simple example. God designed the human body to absorb light. We're designed to absorb light. We should go out in the sun, and we should absorb light. That's the essence and the nature of who God is. God is light. So if you're sensitive to the light, when the light was put on, I was just reading Genesis to my little 1 and 3-year-old daughters yesterday. And God created the sun and the moon, and he created them to rule the day. The sun to rule the day and the moon to rule the night. And that is like plant life, animal life, human life could not exist without the sun. And if you're sensitive to it and you can't go in at it and you're reacting to it and it's so bright in your eyes, there's a problem because your body's designed to absorb light. And we know we're designed to absorb light because if you go in the sun more often, your skin darkens. It's called melanin. Why? So that you can absorb more light. Because the more light you can absorb, the healthier you will be. The more tan you are, the healthier you will be. So everything out there, I don't want to get into a conversation about the sun because I've talked about it 100 times before, but all the propaganda out there about the sun being bad for you is complete fallacy. But again, it comes back to the health of the person. If a person's not healthy and they're incredibly pale and they go out in the sun, they're going to get damaged by the sun. But if you're healthy inside of your body, then you can go out in the sun and you can get tan, which you should. So I encourage everybody to get in the sun. But my point is that there's an issue with your liver, and your liver's blocked and congested if you can't go into the sun and you can't absorb light. And so it's that with these other stimuli too. Chemicals, any kind of thing that you're super sensitive to is because of blocked filters. Again, why do some people have allergies and asthma? Why do some people have sensitivities to hay fever and dog hair and pollen? And some people it just never ever affects. It depends on their filters, if they're blocked up or not. I want to mention this specifically related to headaches and migraines because I know I work with a lot of women, mainly just because men are stubborn, and they'll usually be on their deathbed before they want to talk about changing their diet or lifestyle. That's supposed to be a joke. But it's true, right? Yeah. It's funny, when men come into my office, I go, okay, so did your wife make you come in here or are you dying? No, I'm just kidding. But a lot of women struggle with headaches and migraines related to their hormonal cycle. 2 weeks before their cycle, a week before their cycle, during the actual menstruation cycle itself, at some point during their cycle. Also really common with pregnancy, for women to struggle with headaches and migraines during pregnancy. And I want to tell you why, because this is a big deal, and it seems like very few people know this or understand this. It's about the liver. It's all about the congestion in the liver. So what happens during a woman's hormonal cycle? A lot of hormones are being produced in case what? In case there's a baby, right? In case there's a pregnancy, in case there's conception. And all of those hormones to be produced that are being dumped into the system for that potential new baby go where? Into the bloodstream. Everything's transported through the bloodstream. And all the blood is filtered through the liver. So when hormones are produced, they are there for a purpose and a reason. If that purpose or reason does not come to fruition, then those hormones are done, not needed anymore, filtered out through the liver and eliminated out the body. Well, if the liver's congested, it can't handle the extra load. And those unused hormones stay trapped in the body, and they trigger headaches and migraines during a woman's cycle. This is what causes cravings around a woman's cycle, sugar cravings and salt and all kinds of different things. It all relates to the liver. And same thing with pregnancy. The first trimester of pregnancy especially, there's a huge increase in what for that baby? Blood volume. Blood. You have to increase the blood volume to create the embryonic fluid to hold the baby. And that increase of blood and fluid puts a lot of stress on the liver. And when do women have morning sickness and nausea? First trimester. Why? The liver. It's not normal. It's not how it's supposed to be. I mean, I hear people say that if you don't have morning sickness or nausea, there's probably something wrong. I mean, that's how normal we think it is for women to have morning sickness and nausea during their pregnancy. And that's why it goes away the second and third trimester, because the first trimester is a lot of extra stress and pressure and burden on the fluid systems of the body, which have to work through the liver. My wife's a perfect example. I've given this testimony many times, but first pregnancy, morning sickness, nausea, food aversions, all of that. And we learned about the liver, and it actually exposed her liver issues. She got itchy skin. She had all kinds of issues related to her liver during our first pregnancy. In between pregnancies, we worked on her liver. She worked on cleansing. She worked on juicing and doing a lot of great things. Second pregnancy, no morning sickness, no nausea, 5.5 months pregnant, came up to me and asked me, because she was worried if she was still pregnant or not, because she felt so good. And she thought something was wrong because she didn't feel pregnant. And she was 5.5 months pregnant. So that's because we worked on her liver. And so I just have to, I feel like, dispel some of these myths that doctors tell people, that your family tells you, that, oh, morning sickness, nausea, it's just part of pregnancy, it's part of life. I have a really good friend of mine who couldn't even keep water down her first trimester, vomited every day her entire first trimester. Are you going to tell me that that's normal? Of course that's not normal. And so this all comes back to the blood and the liver filtering the blood, and especially related to a woman's hormonal cycle and pregnancy. So I just wanted to highlight that because that's a big one. I hear women all the time, it's around their cycle that they get their headaches, or around their cycle that they get their migraines. You got to clean up your blood. And there's a lot of ways to clean up the blood. Unfortunately, our bodies are pretty far gone, so we got to work on the kidneys and the lymph and the liver, and there's all kinds of things to work on. But the liver being the main one that filters the blood all day, every day. All right, so I talked about some of the main triggers. I mentioned the dangers of pharmaceutical drugs. Let me see what else we can do to help this issue with headaches and migraines and cleaning up the blood. Now, I just have to say this because I think, again, this is important, that the main goal is for you to be well, not just to make your headache go away. And people come into a health food store and they want to take an herbal product to help their headache go away. And I think that's great. I think that's better than aspirin. I'm happy with that. But I really want people to cleanse and to have healthy blood and to have healthy livers and to live a long life and to have healthy children and actually care about their bodies and see that aligning their bodies with God creates a closer relationship between them and their Creator that has been forgotten in the Christian community. So I really stress that I'm all about you getting out of pain. But it runs deeper than that in my heart, and trust me, in God's heart too. That we'd move beyond that mindset of just going in and out of pain and doing just what it takes long enough to get out of pain and going back to our old ways. Like, what does the Bible say? A dog returns to his own vomit. I mean, it's a disgusting scripture, but is anything more true about just kind of human nature? It's sadly true. So a couple of things we can do is obviously nutrition. Eat an alkaline diet. Eat greens, fruits, vegetables as a majority of your diet. Getting away from all the main triggers, headache triggers, migraine triggers, also all the common allergens, all the common things that people are having food sensitivities with. The dairy, the grains, the sugar. And so I've kind of gotten away, I have to explain it sometimes, but I've kind of gotten away from having to explain to people every single time, but what about grains are good for us? We're supposed to eat whole grains. Well, the Bible, Ezekiel ate grains. So we have to get away from that because it's about your body and what your body can handle and tolerate and digest. You might have heard you're not what you eat, but what you digest, process, and eliminate. Have you ever heard that? Maybe that's just me because I run in these circles. But it's not about what you eat. It's about what you digest, process, and eliminate. And if you can't properly digest, process, and eliminate what enters your body, you're going to have reactions. And this is why people have all these different named health issues, because those systems are broken down. God's system, his perfect design, is breaking down. Not because God's a bad designer, not because God's a bad architect. It's because we've been giving him cheap, poor quality building materials. And we've been doing it for centuries now, decades especially. So offset acidity, I talked about that. A couple of things you can do to really help offset acidity is baking soda and water. I am a fan of that. A little bit of half a teaspoon of baking soda and water a couple times a day. Helps with acid reflux, but it also can help with headaches, migraines, alkalizing the body, helps with kidney function. Mucilaginous herbs. So this would be things like aloe vera, slippery elm. This is all in your guys' sheet. Slippery elm, marshmallow root, aloe vera, fennel. We have quite a few formulas that have those herbs in it. But what they do is they soothe and they coat and they heal a damaged intestinal tract. So ulcers or an overacid stomach, or again, it will also help with these kind of headache issues. Magnesium. So in addition to just the blood being toxic, a lot of times we have a constriction issue, right? So you might have heard that about migraines and headaches, how the blood vessels are constricted around the brain. And so what we need to do is open blood flow. Open blood flow. And so the best thing to open blood flow, I've had people, I know a company who, I know they're selling their product, but they say in their literature that headaches and migraines are a magnesium deficiency. Now, I don't think that's true, but I can see why they say that, because they've probably given it to thousands of people, and it's helped with their headaches and migraines. And I've given people magnesium oil for years and years and years and years. And so it's a vasodilator. It opens up and relaxes the nerves in the nervous system and the blood vessels, which again are the problem areas when you're dealing with headaches and migraines, your blood and your nerves. And so it relaxes both of those systems. So that's why I love magnesium oil. I love the magnesium chloride oil where you can do the foot soaks. I think that's the best form. Magnesium chloride, that's the way it comes out of the earth. We use the Health and Wisdom brand. We love that stuff, been using it for years. You can use Calm or some kind of powdered magnesium. You just put in water and drink it, and that works as well. But some type of magnesium to open up and relax the muscles, the blood vessels, the nervous system. Cleansing is number 4. Again, the root of almost all headaches and migraines is some type of toxicity in the body. You want to know the fastest way to relieve a migraine? I don't know if anybody'd want to do it. It's an enema. You were smiling. I think you might have known the answer. An enema. People with chronic migraines, if they start doing enemas, the migraines go away. Why? You're quickly moving poisons and toxins out of the blood, out of the body. Again, it's the buildup of toxins in the blood that cause the reaction. People who cleanse or fast or juice fast usually notice at some point during their cleanse or their fast they get headaches, because the body's releasing toxins and poisons into the bloodstream. And so you can alleviate that through doing enemas. You could alleviate that through sweating, like at a sauna. Anything that will assist the body removing toxins, the body removing toxins from the bloodstream. So besides magnesium, other herbs that help with blood flow would cayenne pepper, of course, if you like your spicy stuff. Other herbs that work are horse chestnut, butcher's broom, ginkgo biloba. I have a product I've given to people for quite a few years called Varicalm, V-A-R-I, think varicose veins. It helps with veins and hemorrhoids and headaches and migraines and any kind of blood flow problem. Those are all blood flow problems. Spider veins, leg veins, headaches, migraines, hemorrhoids, blood flow problems. So herbs and magnesium and things that open up blood flow can alleviate your headache or migraine. Earthing sheets connecting to the earth, standing outside barefoot will make your headache go away. And so it's connecting to the earth, connecting to that source of energy that's the earth that God created for us, that he fashioned us out of. And so if you connect back to the earth, it will also relieve pain conditions. The guy who discovered earthing found that every time he was barefoot outside, his pain in his body disappeared. And then as soon as he walked back inside, his pain came back. Massage, I wrote number 7. Some things you can do. You can do cold or warm compresses on the back of the neck. Now that might seem kind of confusing because I talked about opening up blood flow. Well, it's a little bit of a tricky situation because if you open up blood flow because you're constricted and it opens up blood flow, it can help people with headaches and migraines. But let's say you're detoxing diet soda, 10 years of drinking diet soda. Well, if you open up your blood more for more flow, it can actually make you feel worse for a while because you're opening up this flow of this toxins through your body, unless you're doing something else to help it go away. So a lot of people, the cold packs on the back of the neck will actually help their headaches or migraines go away because it actually further constricts the blood flow and stops the blood from flowing to the brain. But I prefer to do the heat method and to increase circulation. The only way that wouldn't work is if people aren't detoxing. If their bowels aren't working, they're constipated, if they're not removing toxins in any way and they have a lot of toxic load, it might not help them right away until their body starts getting those toxins out of the body. So a couple of massage points that work really well that I've used on my wife a lot because she gets headaches sometimes, not a lot, but this spot in the webbing between your thumb and your pointer finger, if you massage that area, that's a liver area. And if you push real hard on that and it hurts, then you could have liver issues. If you push on that and it's really sensitive, but if you massage that really well, it'll make a headache or migraine go away. Another spot is the occipital, which is right in the back, right here, up kind of parallel with the bottom of your ears, kind of where that goes up into a little crease right there in the back of your neck. That's my wife's favorite spot, the occipital right there. Will make a headache go away pretty much every time. And then the old classic, of course, is the feet. You can relieve pain. You can help people relax. You give anybody a 15-20-minute foot massage, and they are going to love you. Because the nerves all end at the feet, and the reason reflexology is popular is because there are these different points in the feet that correlate to different parts of the body. And there is a liver spot in the foot, which is kind of right in the center of the foot, right straight down like from where the big toe is. But that will also help relieve it. And then, of course, you can use, like if you do the massage of the webbing or the occipital or the feet, you can do magnesium oil. You can rub the magnesium oil in there, or essential oils. I brought the magnesium oil, the Health and Wisdom magnesium oil. Essential oils, oh my gosh, there's so many good essential oils, like I wouldn't know where to start. But I just gave 3 options if you have headaches. So again, you can rub these into any of those spots in the body. I think the most effective overall is the feet, especially the big toe. If you go, just so you know, I'm going to show you my foot. If you go from the big toe down the inside of your foot, that's your spinal cord. And so if you rub oil all the way down that inside of your foot, it's like putting that oil right into your spinal cord. That's where it goes. And so it's going to help pain relief and different things in the entire body. But I just picked out 3 main oils that help with headaches. You guys know what oils help with headaches, right? Give me a couple. Lavender. Yes, I got lavender. So I have lavender, very calming, very relaxing. It's going to calm the nervous system. And so that's why lavender is going to help. What else? Peppermint. Wow, you guys are nailing it today. Peppermint. Right here. Now, peppermint's a very stimulating herb. Very stimulating herb. So again, we talked about circulation and blood flow and increasing blood flow. That's why the peppermint works, because it's actually very stimulating. And it increases blood flow, and it helps that headache to go away. And the third one, I'll just give you a hint. It's like probably the main herb I talk about all the time for calming and relaxing. No, but that would have been another good one. Holy basil. If I was to pick 2 more oils, I would have probably picked chamomile and wintergreen. So thank you for whoever said that. Oh, they're on my sheet? Oh, you guys were cheating. Okay. Did I write holy basil on the sheet? Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Okay, well, I love holy basil. I mean, it's an amazing herb. Same thing, calms and relaxes the nervous system. You know, taking any of these oils, can they help you? Yes. Is it the answer to what will heal you? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it might help with stress and anxiety and calming the nervous system, but there's usually deeper issues. And so it's always good to look at the root of deeper issues, whether that's emotional stuff or whether that's cleansing, you know, because of the toxic blood issue like we talked about. There's so many times deeper issues. But God gave us these plants, and they really help, and they really work, and the oils really work. And so it's a great tool. But just like anything else, I would rather you take these oils than take a pharmaceutical drug, because this is going to have healing benefits. But if you stop taking the oil and all of a sudden you have chronic migraines again, well, you haven't really solved anything. So important that we understand that. Herbal formulas that have relieved pain forever. Just common herbs. You've probably heard of white willow. You guys have heard of white willow bark, right? That's originally what aspirin was before they chemicalized it and made it a chemical drug. It was white willow bark. They sold white willow bark for pain relief. And then when they created aspirin, it was this weird drug compound mixed with white willow bark. And then as the years progressed, it turned into 100% chemical drug with nothing natural left in it. That's what medicine does, is they use these really cheap chemicals because there's a lot of profit in cheap chemicals, and there's a lot of profit in people that are sick and that are in pain and have headaches. So God wants you free. A couple of products I just grabbed. One is called White Willow Blend, because that was the original aspirin, was white willow. So this has meadowsweet, white willow, wild lettuce, and I can't even pronounce that last one, but another cool herb. This one's called Tension Headache, and the tension headache has wood betony, white willow bark, skullcap, and lavender. And skullcap's another one people take for sleep that calms and relaxes the nervous system. So you see these herbal formulas that relieve pain have a combination of like white willow bark that relieve pain, but the other herbs in it mostly are herbs that calm and relax the body and the nervous system. So that's going to hit multiple issues that you might be dealing with, including like a stress or an anxiety response. I wrote iridology down because you can see a lot of amazing things in the eye, and one thing that I can see in the eye is something called radial furrows, which start at a person's pupil, and it goes through their digestive tract past their nervous system, so it bypasses their nervous system, which is something called the collarette, which is this squiggly thing that goes around the eye, and that represents the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, and it goes past there into a part of their body. And most of the time, these are found in the upper part of the eye, which is the area of the head and the sinus. And so you can see right in the eye why people are eating, well, when I eat clean, I feel great, and when I go have pizza and ice cream, I get a pounding headache. It's because your gut is damaged, your food's not getting digested properly, undigested food particles are leaking out into your body, causing these responses. And so that's why people all the time have these food sensitivities that trigger these different things that happen, because they damage in their gut, which is a lot of times where it starts, is from damage in the gut lining. And then the long-term answer, number 10, I just put clean lymph and blood and liver, of course. Cleaning the liver and cleaning the lymph are the main things that are going to clean your blood. So those are probably the most important systems to understand long-term for health. Now you got to have the kidneys working to get the lymph drained, and you got to have the colon working to get the liver drained. So they're all important, but the main ones that are actually in charge of cleaning that blood is the lymphatic system and the liver. And I mentioned that in here at the end, is that those headaches that come behind the eyes or the temples, if you feel like your headache's right behind your eye, it's called a biliary headache. It's bile related, it's liver related, it's a liver congestion issue. So long term, clean your blood, your liver, your lymph. So that's why people have headaches and migraines, from my understanding of it. And for some people, maybe not an important topic. For some people, could be a life-changing topic. If you've been on drugs or something for your entire life and you understand that you just need to maybe change your diet a little bit and do a little cleansing, and these things can go away. Just like I mentioned with Hannah when I started the class, and other people I've worked with, is, we're 2-3 months into working on things, and they're all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, that shoulder pain I haven't had in months, and I totally forgot about it. That's good. That's a good thing when pain disappears and you don't even realize it. It's like you're living life again. When sometimes we're, what's the word? We're like consumed. I'm sure there's a better word, but by the pain. Like it rules and controls our life. And so getting out of pain is a good thing. So that's it. Amen. Questions? Yes.
You just mentioned kind of a general sequence for cleansing. Like if somebody's never, like I know a couple of weeks ago you said don't start with liver and
Sure.
gallbladder. Like, so where should a person start, just generally speaking?
Good question. So she asked, where should you start, generally speaking, if you're cleansing? There's only 2 main ways the body eliminates poisons out of the body: kidneys and colon. Kidneys and colon. So think of all the people with constipation. Think of all the people with bladder infections, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, back pain, high blood pressure, water retention, edema, fluid swelling, weight gain. So if your kidneys and colon aren't eliminating toxins, the rest of your systems aren't either. So that's where it starts. It starts with the colon and the kidneys. After that, the lymph is crucially important because that's your main drainage system. That's the main sewer system. That's the main system that eliminates toxins. But all lymph fluid waste come out through the kidneys unless you're sweating as well, because you also have this big skin organ, right, where toxins can come out as well. So that would be the order, would be colon, kidney, lymph, and then liver.
So you say colon, kidney, like you do it, these aren't like separate things?
They're separate cleanses that I have. You can do full body cleanses. There are cleanses that have a colon component and a kidney component and a liver component, and that's great. I usually promote colon cleansing first, just because I just know that's that big main sewer line that goes into your house, and if that sewer line's clogged, well, the whole rest of your pipes are clogged too. Is that a good enough analogy? Ew, right, exactly. Like, you get a sink clogged up and you can unclog the sink, but if your main line gets clogged up, you're like, help, right? You're calling somebody. So the colon's kind of like that main sewer pipe. So getting that unblocked, I think, is first and foremost. And even if you feel like you're in relatively good shape there and you've had pretty decent bowel movements your whole life, it never is going to hurt to do a colon cleanse, do some enemas, because it's going to open up things around the colon, like the lymph and just other things that are stagnant and congested around the area of the colon. So I do colon first. I usually recommend kidney second, then lymph third, and then liver last.
You keep
Yes.
talking about enemas. What kind? You don't just go buy a fleet enema.
Enemas, what kind? Yeah, I don't think the fleet enemas at the drugstore would be the best. You can get your standard for 10, 15, 20 bucks, whatever you can buy for. We have some here. You can buy them online pretty cheap, but it's a plastic bucket. It's got a little tube. It's gravity fed, so you got to hang it up, let the liquid start flowing through, insert it, lubricate it, insert it, and that is just kind of the basic way people have always done enemas. Just a classic enema bucket. And you can get 1.5 quart, 3.5 quart. You can do different amounts. We have one called an implantorama. It's kind of a funny name, but it's actually a glass jar with a cap, and one end has a tube that you pump, and so you can control the flow. It's basically pressurized air force instead of gravity fed. So it's so much easier to use and to lay in any position, and it's just way easier to use. So if people do them long term, I usually recommend them getting something a little better. Or you can get a Kalima board, which we actually have Kalima boards that we've sold to people. Colema. And a Kalima board, you actually set it on your toilet. And you have a big 5-gallon bucket, and it's like doing a colonic. And so that would be the other thing you can do, is you can go get it done by a professional, a certified colon hydrotherapist, and you can get a colonic done where they wash 40, 50, 60 gallons of water through your colon in an hour, like a 45-minute hour session. And there's different systems, and we could talk more about it, but Those are your basic options. A colonic from a professional, which is going to cost you, of course. I recommend just at least a home enema bucket because it's cheap and might be weird the first time or two you do it, but when you get used to it, it's not a big deal. But if you want to do the home colonics, it's the Kalima board.
Just tell us what you put inside, water and...
What you put inside the
Yeah.
enema bucket?
Water.
Just start with warm water. Just start to just get some basic stuff out with warm water. Lemon, I encourage. So like the juice of half a lemon is a great thing to do because it emulsifies, it breaks down fat and fatty deposits. It's going to help with high cholesterol, liver, gallstones. It's alkaline to the body. I mean, lemon is just amazing. Baking soda is good in an enema. Same reasons. It's very cleansing. It washes the colon. It kills fungus, yeast, bacteria on contact. It also alkalizes the system. Coffee is common. I recommend people not overdo coffee because it can be addictive, habit forming, it can be too acidic. You could actually go on forever on what you can put in an enema because you can also do hot teas. Not hot teas, body temperature, obviously. Everything that goes in your body should be body temperature. But people do chamomile tea. They do, all different kinds of herbs and different things in an enema. You can do bentonite clay in an enema, which I've had people that have colitis and Crohn's and diverticulitis put that clay right into the colon, and it heals that damaged gut wall. You can put probiotics right up there into the colon. You can do aloe vera juice. I mean, it's really endless. But what I usually recommend and default to is kind of lemon, baking soda, sea salt's another good one, some of those basic things. Were you going to?
Oh, I was just mentioning that you mentioned baking soda, and I was just going to put in there non-aluminum baking soda.
Yes, on the baking soda, I have food grade baking soda that's not been processed, that's tested to make sure there's no heavy metals in it, whereas you can't necessarily know that if you buy it at the grocery store. So thank you. Any other questions about headaches, migraines, or just random fun? Next week, just so you know, next week, speaking of heavy metals, that's pretty interesting. I added a class just for kicks and giggles. I added heavy metals. So next week, we're actually going to talk about heavy metal toxicity, how to test for it, how to detox it. It's been a personal subject because of some stuff that we found out in our own family related to heavy metals. And so, yeah, we're going to do heavy metals next week. And we redid this schedule, so you guys can check it out. But that'll be next Monday. All right. Thank you all. Yes, Christine?
Can you take a break between the cleansing? Like if you do the colon cleansing, you take a break, kidney.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all.
Doesn't have to be all together. You can take a break. Just stay on a nice, clean diet and program. A lot of times it's hard to cleanse in the winter, so I'll tell people that, hey, do the best you can now, make some progress, and then pick it up again in the spring. So, cleansing is kind of a tricky word because people think you run into the bathroom all the time and you have to do all these herbs and all these things. Cleansing can just be, I just skip breakfast or just have a juice, and I fast most of the day, and I just have a sensible dinner that's like a salad and fish or chicken. Like, you can... The key to cleansing is just lightening the load. It's the overconsumption of food, unhealthy or healthy food, that destroys the human body. It's the overindulgence of a society where we have way more than we need to survive that we instead choose to indulge. So that's what's going to bring health and healing and cleansing, because that's the first step anyway. If you're going to do a colon cleanse or whatever you're going to do, it's a restrictive diet. Because that's the key to health. That's the key to longevity. You want to die prematurely, overeat. And it doesn't have to be unhealthy stuff. It can be healthy stuff. It's still the body getting too heavy of a load that it can't handle, and that's what causes the body to break down. So in the winter, if you just want to keep it to soups and hot teas and hot soups and, and just keep it simple and steam veggies and keep it light, you're still kind of cleansing. You know what I mean? I think it's our thought process that it's all or nothing. We're either 100% juice fasting, cleansing, a million miles an hour, or we're just overindulgent, can't control ourselves, eat whatever we want. Like, middle ground would be really wise. I know that's probably much longer of an answer than you wanted, but I've always struggled with the middle ground. Okay, I've always been very good at fasting, and I've always been very good at overindulging. just being very honest with you. So something that the Lord has had to work with me on through my health and my journey. But if we don't learn the fruits of the Spirit, if we don't learn self-control, we're never going to be able to partner with God with what he wants us to do. Amen. All right.